Hey, what is up, parents and teachers? I am going to talk, parents, really, I'm talking to you today about the parental pendulum. I'm going to tell you what I mean by that. So, what I've noticed over many years of doing this is that there is oftentimes a parental pendulum that will swing. And I'm going to describe to you exactly how that works. And I'm going to tell you sort of my take on what you want to do about it. And here's how the pendulum works, parents. Oh, by the way, my name is Seth with SethPerler.com. I'm an executive function coach in Colorado, and I help struggling students navigate this thing called school so they can have a great life. Because when your kid struggles with executive function, they can't get the important things done that need to get done. They limit their choices and possibilities and opportunities in life. Quite literally, this is no joke. This is no game. I do this because I want my kids to have an awesome future, a great life. And if they can't figure out how to execute, it's a massive problem. If they can't figure out how to organize, manage time, follow through with commitments, prioritize things properly, etc. So what happens with the parental pendulum is that the pendulum swings. And oftentimes the pendulum swings one direction where a parent for a very long period of time will be enabling. I do not mean that in a positive way. I mean the negative form of enabling. They're doing too much. They're helping too much. They're micromanaging too much. They're on top of everything. The parent is the executive function for that kid. They're giving tons of reminders. They're nagging. They're bugging. And what happens is that pendulum is going. It's going higher and higher. It's gaining all this momentum. The parent is getting very frustrated, very frustrated. One day, there will be the straw that breaks the camel's back. The parent will get so frustrated over that straw that they will say, fine, you be an adult. You do it then. I'm not going to bug you about anything. You've got this. You suffer the consequences. And they let go completely. And I understand that frustration. You're at your wit's end. You've been doing so much. It hasn't been seen. It hasn't been appreciated. It has been noticed, and nothing has changed. It hasn't actually helped. You've expended all of this energy. It's like you go into somewhere and you pay a bunch of money and keep paying, or you go to like a vending machine and keep putting money, and the thing doesn't come out, and you would never keep putting money in there if it didn't. But here you keep investing and investing and investing and investing and investing and investing and hoping something's going to change and that your kid's going to receive your help and they're going to appreciate it and they're going to take it and they're going to learn from it and they're going to feel supported and they're going to have tools so that they can better navigate it next time, blah, blah, blah. And it doesn't happen. You're so frustrated. So what happens? The pendulum swings the other way. You do that. And then everything falls apart for them. Big time. They really do get a bunch of giant Fs, bunch of missings, bunch of late work. Everything falls apart. They miss the bus, they don't get to school on time, they get detention, blah, blah, blah. What's your inclination? I want to go in there and rescue. I want to fix this. I want to talk to them. I want to help them. Just see, it would be so much easier if you just, So there's such a strong temptation to jump in there again, and you're watching everything fall. So anyhow, why am I telling you all this? What I'm suggesting to you is that you seek more balance, that the pendulum doesn't swing as far to either side, but you have self-compassion. You know that you're probably going to keep doing this, but you want to do it less, parents. You want to do it less frequently. And when the pendulum does swing, you want it to swing less intensely, less frequently and less intensely, so that you can have more balance. You're seeking more balance. How do you get this balance? I'm going to give you a couple tips here. One is what I call a pre-conversation, okay? A pre-conversation is where you tell your kid that a conversation is coming. This isn't even the conversation. This is a conversation about the conversation. Why would you do that? The reason you do a pre-conversation is so that that's not coming out of left field and your child has some understanding of what's coming down the pike. You're going to make the conversation concrete by telling them what it's going to be about and what the constraints are. So you're going to say, hey, we need to talk. We're going to talk Wednesday night at 7 o'clock for about a half hour, an hour, As long as you're forthcoming with me, we'll be done talking by then. And your kid might say, well, what's it about? And you can tell them or not, or you can say, we're going to talk about a relationship or whatever. You don't get deep at this time, but they may want to know at that time. But you want to give them enough information so that they're clear on what's coming. Hey, I want you to think about what you want to talk to me about, and I'm going to really listen to you, and I'm going to be there for you. And I want you to try to hear me too, but we're going to have a good talk about some things. You can say, we're going to have some talk about that I'm doing too much for you, and it's not okay, and it doesn't feel good to me, and it probably doesn't feel good to you. So then, whether that talk is in 5 minutes, in 3 days, over the weekend, whatever, you've done the pre-conversation and tell them what's coming. Now, at that time, you better follow through with that and be there at that time. You say, all right, we're going to talk in 5 minutes, see you in a minute. Sit down, turn off the phones, close the technology, all that stuff. You give each other attention, and you say, hey, we're going to have this heart-to-heart. And ask them how it feels. Ask them what would help them. Ask them what they need. Ask them what is supportive. Ask them if it feels enabling. Ask them if it's off-putting. Ask them if it's suffocating. Now, I know what some of you parents are thinking right now. Yeah, but if I ask them, they're just going to tell me to back off, and then they're not going to do anything, and then everything's going to fall apart. Okay, I understand that concern. You are probably right. You know the script. You know the pattern. But how are you going to break it? Is what you're doing working? So the goal isn't, okay, so now you're having the real heart-to-heart conversation. Oh, and I also want you to ask during this heart-to-heart, next time this happens and things start falling apart, or you're forgetting things, or you miss the bus, or you're not doing your homework, or you get zeros or Fs or whatever, how do you want me to support you? You ask them. Get buy-in from them. How should I support you? Oh, don't do anything. Don't worry. I got it. No, that's not going to work. How should I support you? Give me something concrete. What do you want me to do? And open that dialogue and see what is the best way for you to be supportive and see what they say. Then write that down, because they're going to forget they said that. So that when that happens, it's on the fridge and you can say, look, you told me to do this at this time. But you are going to feel more detached in positive way as a parent when that happens. You're going to have the evidence. You're going to have the thing written on the fridge or in the drawer, and you're going to be able to be like, look, last time we talked, you told me here's what you wanted me to do to support you. So that's what we're doing. So either way, the goal of this conversation, you know, the pendulum swings, you have this big problem, you're expending all this energy, you're enabling, you know, it's causing a rift in the relationship, it's not fixing things. So the goal of this conversation isn't, even though I just said to write some stuff down, is not to find the end-all be-all answer. That may sound counterintuitive, so I'm going to reiterate this. You're going to have a heart-to-heart, you're going to look for solutions, but the goal isn't those solutions. They may not even work, or they may not work well, or they may take a long time to work. The goal isn't, especially if you're a rigid personality, I don't say that negatively, but if you are a very rigid person and you're looking for solutions and resolution, the goal isn't the solution. The goal of that heart-to-heart conversation is hearing each other. The goal is connection. The goal is building the relationship. Even though your kid may not feel it, doesn't matter. Your actions were that you had them leave the conversation feeling heard. Maybe they didn't get what they want, but they were at least legitimately heard. You heard them. You really tried to understand them. And you took time to really understand, hey, how do you want me to be supporting you? And you agreed or didn't agree to whatever things you guys came up with. But your goal is not, it's not so much about those things that you came up with. It's about just hearing each other. The experience of trying to hear each other, building, that is investing. That is investing into your relationship. You've just invested real, difficult, sometimes challenging, trying to really hear each other. Melody Beatty says in this quote, "We cannot simultaneously set a boundary and take care of another person's feelings. So in this pendulum, parents, you need your boundaries. You need healthy, good, reasonable boundaries. Your kid's job is to find where those boundaries are and push them. They want to know that they're there, although they will never tell you that. So their job is to push them. Find where the boundaries are, find out what they are, why they exist, to learn them, to become a good adult, to become an adult with good life, who has good boundaries themselves. So they want them. And it's really hard for parents to be like, here's my boundary. So for you to make a decision about what that is can be challenging. And you may have to change them sometimes, and that's okay. And this stuff is messy. But I love this quote. We can't simultaneously set a boundary and take care of another person's feelings. They may not like the boundary. They don't have to like the boundary. But you ultimately want to be doing what's in the best long-term interest. And when the pendulum swings really far, oftentimes we are not doing what's in the best long-term interest. We're more in urgent mode trying to put out fires. So anyhow, that's all I got. My name is Seth, with SethPerler.com. I'm an executive function coach in Colorado. I was struggling students navigate this thing called education so they can have great lives. If you haven't subscribed to my site, I send out a Sunday update with new content every week. I'm helping parents and teachers and kids. And if you like this, you can leave a comment below, leave a thumbs up. How does the pendulum show up in your life? Take care.